Welcome to this exploration, specifically for higher education marketers. The landscape right now, well, it presents some pretty significant opportunities, doesn't it? Especially as you're navigating enrollment challenges and trying to connect with, today's students.
Absolutely. It feels like we're really at a point where just relying on the old ways isn't cutting it anymore.
Exactly.
The resources we've been looking at offer some, really compelling strategies to help cut through all that noise and build actual connections.
Right. So our goal today is really to get into the core principles behind, effective engagement, both with prospective students and the ones you already have. We'll be looking at, quite a range: text messaging, content marketing trends, the role of your CMS, which is huge, email for retention, and even how AI fits into the picture.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Let's start with something immediate, often kind of underestimated, I think: text messaging.
Ah, yes. SMS. It's fascinating just how powerful it can be for that direct line of communication in higher ed.
It really is.
One of the articles we saw mentioned UT Austin achieving a 98% engagement rate with texts.
98%.
I know. That kind of responsiveness, it just signals a massive opportunity, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
And what's likely driving that? Well, they've clearly tapped into that immediacy that convenience students just expect now from their phone.
That's a great point. It's not just the tech. It's understanding the behavior. And the materials emphasize that to really make this work, there are some essential do's, things you absolutely have to do.
Okay.
First, and this is critical, get explicit consent.
Non-negotiable.
Totally. It's not just, good manners. It's legal. TCPA for mobile stuff, FERPA protecting student records.
Right. Both really important here.
So you need clear opt-in methods: online forms, event signups, student portals. That's key for compliance and honestly for building trust from the get-go.
Precisely. That initial respect, asking permission, really sets the tone.
Yeah.
So building on that, the second do is about keeping it concise. Students are swimming in information, right? So texts need to be short, punchy. Under 160 characters is the guidance.
Makes sense. I mean, think about it. What are you more likely to actually read and act on?
Exactly. The resources gave a good example, didn't they? Instead of some long paragraph about a financial aid deadline.
Right. Something like, reminder, financial aid app due Friday 5 p.m. Upload docs via portal ASAP to avoid delays.
Perfect. Get straight to the point. Urgency, action, location, done. No fluff.
And the third do takes it up a notch: personalization.
Yes, generic blasts, so easy to ignore.
Totally.
But when you use their name, reference their specific program, suddenly it feels relevant.
Like, hi Sarah, fall course registration for nursing opens Monday. Secure your spot via the portal. Much better than a general announcement.
So much better. It shows you're using the data you have to send the right message to the right student. And importantly, at the right time.
Which, leads perfectly into the fourth do: strategic timing.
Even the best message gets lost if it lands at 3 a.m.
Right. So general guidelines suggest weekdays, maybe 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.-ish.
That seems reasonable as a starting point, but you also have to consider urgency, right? A reminder for a club meeting in an hour is different than a heads up about a job fair next week.
Good point.
Yeah.
And this is where automated scheduling tools really become invaluable, hitting those key moments without someone having to manually press send every time.
Absolutely essential for efficiency. And the final do, equally important. Always provide a clear, easy opt-out.
Reply S.P to unsubscribe. Simple as that.
Exactly. It's not just the law. It shows respect. Plus, it helps keep your list clean, filled with people who actually want to hear from you.
Builds trust, keeps the list engaged. Makes total sense.
So those are the core do's, foundational stuff.
Okay, so now let's flip it. Let's talk about the don'ts, the pitfalls you absolutely need to avoid.
All right. The first don't is a big one. Don't overload them with information in one text.
Right. It's not email.
Exactly. It's quick, direct, not the place for essays. The example contrasting a long tuition reminder versus a short one directing to the portal, that nails it.
Yeah, give them the essential nugget, tell them where to go for the details, keep it focused.
Precisely. Grab their attention, point them in the right direction.
Okay. Don't number 2 relates to language.
Ah, yes. Steer clear of excessive slang, jargon, abbreviations.
You want to be approachable, sure, but you're still an institution. Professionalism matters. Clarity matters.
Definitely. The example for the financial aid deadline showed that, didn't it? Clear, straightforward language always wins over trying too hard to be cool or using obscure acronyms.
Totally agree. Okay, the third, don't. This one's crucial for keeping texting effective long term.
Let me guess. Don't send irrelevant messages.
Spot on. Don't send unsolicited or irrelevant stuff.
Yeah.
If you bombard students with announcements that have nothing to do with them.
We'll just start ignoring all your texts. Or worse, opt out.
Exactly. So segmentation is key. The example of tailoring a career fair alert for engineering students versus blasting everyone. That's smart. Relevance drives engagement.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, number 4 is a biggie for privacy.
Oh, yeah. Non-negotiable. Never, ever share sensitive personal information via text.
PII, student IDs, grades, none of it.
Nope. Always direct them to secure platforms, like their student portal.
The grade availability example was perfect. Grades are available, check the secure portal. Inform, but direct securely.
Exactly. And the final don't. It's about closing the loop.
Right. Don't send a message without a follow-up plan.
Yeah. Texting shouldn't just be a one-way street, ideally, or at least provide clear next steps if they need help.
So if you send that registration reminder,
make sure you include contact info for advisors or support services. Turn an announcement into supported action.
Makes sense. Transforms it from just information push to actual help.
And beyond these do's and don'ts, the resources also talked about leveraging scheduling and automation, right?
Pre-scheduling messages, setting up automated replies for common questions, using workflows for triggered messages based on behavior.
And integrating with your CRM, your main student interaction platform. That helps tie it all together.
Hugely important for efficiency and personalization at scale. And finally, you have to measure your success.
Right. Track those metrics. Open rates are tricky with SMS, but response rates if you allow replies.
Conversion rates, are they actually doing the thing you asked? And, crucially, opt-out rates.
Yeah, a high opt-out rate is a definite red flag. Tells you something's wrong with your strategy or content.
Absolutely. Tracking lets you adjust and improve based on real data.
Okay, great overview of texting. Let's shift gears now to a broader strategy. Content marketing. The whole landscape here feels like it's really changing, and the materials we looked at highlight some, well, pretty pivotal trends for you marketers out there.
Yeah, what's really striking is the evidence showing that the old way, heavily relying on, purchase-led funnels, it's just not working like it used to.
Seems less and less effective.
One source pointing to a 67% drop in conversion rates from purchased contacts just between 2019 and 2023.
Wow, 67%. That's huge.
It is. And you couple that with the enrollment cliff everyone's talking about,
Right.
It's clear you need a shift towards building organic connections.
Absolutely. The focus has to move towards attracting students with genuinely valuable content that speaks to them, connects with them, rather than just, buying lists.
Exactly. Fostering real connections.
So what are some of the key content trends that are actually working in this new reality?
Well, one big one is multi-channel storytelling. But, and this is important, it's not just about being everywhere.
Right, not just spraying content across platforms.
Precisely. It's about crafting cohesive stories that flow across different touch points. The message stays consistent, even if the format or tone changes a bit for each channel.
Makes sense.
As one source put it, the channel isn't the strategy. The story is. How you adapt it effectively matters.
So maybe they see a fun TikTok about campus life.
Which leads them to a detailed program page on the website. Then maybe they get personalized emails with student testimonials for that program. It all connects.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, what else?
Student-generated content. This is massive.
Authenticity, right.
Totally. Forget the super polished, maybe slightly sterile marketing pieces. Today's prospective students crave seeing the real deal. Content from current students. It just resonates more strongly.
Need some brand guidelines probably, but yeah.
Oh, for sure. But the stats show most recruiters recognize how critical that peer-to-peer interaction is for decision-making.
And there was an interesting point about which students' content is most effective.
Yes. Content from juniors and seniors often hits harder than from first years.
Why is that, do you think?
Probably because they can speak with more experience about the whole journey, academics, social life, even career outcomes. They've seen more of it.
That's a great nuance. Okay, next trend, video. Always video.
Always video, but it's evolving. Short form, obviously huge for attention spans on TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah, I gotta grab them quick.
But longer form video still definitely has its place, especially for, say, prospective grad students making bigger, more complex decisions.
Right, higher stakes.
So you align the length with the decision's complexity and where the student is in their journey. Quick tour, short form, deep dive into research or career stats. Might need longer.
Makes sense. Match the format to the function. And AI. It keeps coming up.
It does, AI and personalization, but not just, mail merging a name into an email.
Right, that's superficial.
We're talking about using AI to deliver content based on actual behavior, demonstrated interests. That's proving incredibly effective.
There was a stat on that.
Yeah, one source cited a 32% jump in application completions using behavioral triggers, delivering specific program content based on what prospects interacted with online.
32% increase. That's significant. Okay, and finally, good old SEO.
Yep, search engine optimization. Still fundamental, even if it sometimes gets overlooked.
Which is crazy because most students start their search online, right?
The vast majority, like 69% start there. Yet something like half of higher ed marketing teams still don't have a formal SEO strategy.
That's a huge gap.
It is. And the key now is moving beyond just broad keywords. You need to target those high-intent, program-specific questions students are actually typing in.
Like?
Things like nursing program, clinical placement rates, or what's the ROI on a business degree, or transfer credit policy for military experience. Really specific stuff.
Got it. Okay, so those are the trends. But for the marketers listening, a big question is always, how do we actually do this? Especially with varying team sizes and resources.
Right. The resources offered some practical advice based on team size.
So for a small team, maybe just 1 or 2 people.
The focus should probably be on the foundation. Get those SEO-optimized program pages solid. Concentrate on maybe 1 or 2 key social platforms where your audience really lives.
Makes sense. Don't spread yourself too thin.
Exactly. And leverage student-generated content. Maybe find a few enthusiastic ambassadors. Repurpose content across formats to maximize efficiency.
Okay, what about mid-sized teams? Say 3 to 5 marketers.
They can expand a bit, maybe build out content hubs around key program areas, formalize the student content program more.
Resource allocation.
Maybe aim for like 60% evergreen content stuff that stays relevant and 40% more timely trending content. Using templates and workflows can really help scale things up too.
Good tips. And for the larger teams.
They can get more sophisticated. Implement that AI-driven personalized content delivery we talked about. Develop specific strategies for each channel. Tailor content for different stages of the enrollment funnel.
And really focus on tracking, measuring the impact on actual enrollment outcomes.
Exactly. Connecting the dots from content engagement to enrollment.
Now, implementing this stuff, it often hits roadblocks, doesn't it? Resistance within the institution.
Oh, absolutely. It's a common challenge. But the sources had some good strategies for navigating that.
Like dealing with leadership resistance?
Yeah. Maybe start with a pilot program. Clear goals, measurable results. Show them data from competitors who are doing it well. Highlight the risks of not adapting.
Makes sense. What about faculty? They can sometimes be hesitant.
Forming a content advisory group with faculty can build buy-in. Show them how great content elevates their work and attracts top students. Frame it as a benefit to them.
Good approach. And the perennial problem. Budget constraints.
Yeah. Look for zero budget wins first, optimizing existing content, encouraging student content, and frame content as a long-term efficiency play. It can reduce reliance on expensive paid ads over time.
Smart. Okay, looking ahead. Emerging trends. What's next in content?
We're seeing a move beyond static articles to more immersive experiences.
Like VR tours, interactive program explorers.
Exactly. Stuff that lets students really engage. AI personalization is getting even smarter, more tailored.
Social search optimization. You mentioned that briefly.
Yes.
Yeah.
TikTok, Instagram, they're becoming search engines for Gen Z, so optimizing captions, hashtags, even spoken words and videos for search is becoming crucial. Interesting. Content is also being seen more as a retention tool, supporting the whole student journey, not just recruitment.
And the overall theme.
Value-driven content wins. Stuff that genuinely helps, informs, or inspires outperforms purely promotional content every time.
Makes sense. Provide value first. There was also a checklist mentioned for a content audit.
Yeah, a practical checklist in one source. Covers purpose, planning, student involvement, measurement. A really useful tool for you to self-assess where your strengths and weaknesses are.
Good resource. And timelines. People always want to know how long this takes.
The resources gave some realistic ranges. Engagement improvements.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 to 3 months. Lead gen, 3 to 6. Impact on applications, 6 to 12 months. Full enrollment impact might take 12 to 18 months.
That's a long game.
It is. It requires sustained effort and strategic budget allocation, investing in SEO tools, video, student content support, distribution, maybe personalization tech, and having the right staff expertise.
Okay, let's pivot now to something absolutely foundational for all this digital work. your content management system, your CMS.
The backbone.
Exactly. Choosing the right CMS is such a pivotal decision, isn't it? It affects website functionality, team efficiency, everything.
Absolutely. It's the central hub. And the overview we saw breaks the market down pretty clearly. You've got open source, mainly Drupal and WordPress.
The big players.
Right. And then proprietary solutions like Modern Campus CMS, Cascade CMS, Terminal 4.
And the market share is interesting. Open source seems dominant, especially at the top universities, but WordPress has huge overall usage across all of higher ed.
That's generally the picture, yes.
Okay, let's talk about these platforms. Drupal first, the enterprise powerhouse.
That's the reputation. Used by a lot of top research universities, all the Ivies. Its strengths are scalability for huge sites, flexibility for customization, strong governance features, security, accessibility built in, great for multi-site and multi-language setups.
Downsides.
Steeper learning curve for users. Often needs developer expertise for big changes. Fewer off-the-shelf themes compared to WordPress.
So best for large, complex universities with tech resources.
Generally, yes.
Okay, then WordPress. Known for being user-friendly.
Very much so. That's its big appeal, especially for smaller colleges. Easy interface, massive ecosystem of themes and plugins, quick to deploy, cost-effective, can handle multiple sites with its multi-site feature.
Challenges.
Security can be a concern if it's not managed well. It's a big target. Relies heavily on plugins for advanced features. Maybe fewer built-in enterprise features than Drupal. Performance needs careful optimization for high traffic.
So maybe a better fit for smaller to mid-sized places, limited IT, where marketing drives the content?
Often, yes. It empowers non-technical users really well.
What about Modern Campus CMS, the one formerly known as Omni CMS, designed for higher ed?
Exactly. Purpose-built modules for things colleges need. An intuitive editor for non-techies. Strong on accessibility and governance. Good support focused on higher ed. Scalable for many sites.
Potential drawbacks.
Licensing and hosting costs. Maybe less customization freedom than open source. Some find parts of the interface a bit dated, though that's subjective.
So good for a turnkey solution. Less IT overhead needed.
Could be, yes. If those higher ed specific features are a priority.
Okay, Cascade CMS, focused on structured content and quality control.
That's the angle. Higher ed templates, built-in accessibility and quality checks, strong permissions and versioning for workflows, drag-and-drop interface, vendor handles, updates.
Does.
Can have significant license costs. Maybe less flexible for deep customization. Smaller developer community than, say, WordPress or Drupal.
So good for places that really prioritize governance and quality control.
Seems like a strong fit there.
And finally, Terminal 4, positioned as marketing focused.
Right. Strong on multi-site management, integrated personalization and digital marketing tools, multi-channel support, built-in marketing automation features, aimed at recruitment.
Challenges there.
Proprietary cost and support model. Interface can seem complex to some, smaller U.S. presence than others, maybe less scope for custom development.
So best if you really want to integrate marketing automation tightly with your CMS, and recruitment is the top priority.
That seems to be its sweet spot.
Okay, so when you're choosing,
Yeah.
what are the key decision factors? SEO must be high on the list.
Absolutely critical. All platforms can do SEO well if configured right. Drupal's structure is inherently good for it. WordPress relies heavily on plugins like Yoast. Proprietary ones often have built-in checks.
Accessibility compliance, huge deal in higher ed.
Non-negotiable. Drupal's a leader here, built-in features. WordPress depends on themes plugins. Proprietary options often include automated checkers, which helps. But managing content creators across any platform is still a challenge.
Multi-site management and scalability, important for universities with lots of departments or campuses.
Crucial. Drupal handles it well. WordPress has multi-site mode. The proprietary ones like Modern Campus, Terminal 4, Cascade are often built specifically for this. Drupal might edge out for extremely high traffic, complex setups.
Security and compliance. FERPA, GDPR, gotta be safe.
Top priority. Drupal has a strong security rep. WordPress is a bigger target due to popularity, needs diligence. Proprietary vendors handle core updates, which can be a plus. All can be configured for compliance.
And just ease of use for both marketing folks and IT.
Big practical consideration. WordPress usually wins for user-friendliness, easy learning curve. Drupal is powerful, but harder for new users. The higher ed specific CMSs really try to cater to non-technical marketers.
Okay, that's a great breakdown of the CMS landscape. Let's shift again now to email marketing, but specifically through the lens of student retention.
A really important, maybe sometimes overlooked use of email.
Definitely. especially when you look at dropout rates, particularly first-year undergrads.
Yeah.
It's a significant issue, financially and institutionally.
Huge cost of attrition. And it's interesting how email, maybe seen as old school by some, can be such a powerful tool for fostering belonging and proactively tackling reasons students leave.
So what is student retention, fundamentally?
It's really multifaceted, isn't it? It's about academic readiness, overall well-being, financial stability, feeling integrated socially, having clarity about their career path.
And the resources looked at why students stay or leave and how email can actually help.
Exactly. If students are facing academic hurdles, proactive emails about expectations and support resources like that Oconee Fall Line Technical College example with retention specialists and early alerts can make a real difference.
Providing help before they feel lost.
Precisely. Or if they feel disconnected, like they don't belong.
Emails inviting them to clubs, events, maybe celebrating student achievements like in that AAPS newsletter example.
Exactly. Cultivating that sense of community. Financial stress is another big one.
So timely reminders about aid deadlines, info on scholarships, financial counseling, like the City Cares program in London.
And for students unsure about their career path.
Emails highlighting internships, alumni stories in their field, career development resources, offering guidance.
Right, and maybe the toughest one, personal or mental health struggles.
Compassionate emails from student services outlining wellness resources, support networks, normalizing seeking help like the DCC content mentioned.
Providing those lifelines is crucial. And email plays a role across the entire journey, doesn't it?
Yeah, the resources mapped it out nicely. Year 1, onboarding, early support, welcome series, resource info, surveys, event invites, like John Cabot University's approach.
Keeping them connected right from the start, then sophomore, junior years, maintaining momentum, providing direction.
Academic milestones, career development, personal growth, wellness campaigns, like SMU's Don't Ghost SMU idea.
Keeping them engaged and on track.
Yeah.
And then senior year, focusing on graduation and what comes next.
Graduation guys, career prep, alumni stories, congratulations, similar to what New Age offers.
Supporting them right through to the finish line and beyond.
So what are the best practices for making these retention emails actually work?
Segmentation is key. Tailoring messages by class year, major, demographics makes them much more relevant.
Not one size fits all.
Definitely not. Using automation thoughtfully triggered by behavior or milestones, but keeping it personal and valuable.
Focus on value, right? Helpful tips, timely reminders, inspiring stories.
Like those transparent digital bulletins for parents from ENSR, providing real value. And, of course, monitor your data, track engagement, see what's working, what's not.
And collaborate across departments.
Yes. Aligning messaging from different services, advising, career center, student life makes a huge difference. Presents a unified support system.
Okay, let's talk about something that's weaving its way into all of this. Artificial intelligence, AI.
A topic that sparks a lot of discussion and sometimes maybe a little fear.
Yeah, the whole robots taking over thing. But the resources we looked at framed it differently, especially for higher ed. More about enhancing the human touch.
Exactly. That's the critical insight. AI isn't about replacing people. It's about empowering institutions to connect better, more efficiently.
Freeing up teams from routine tasks.
Precisely. Automating the repetitive stuff, providing data-driven insights so staff can focus on building those deeper, meaningful relationships. More time for personalized support.
So for enrollment teams, AI can help identify students who are not just qualified, but likely to actually thrive at your specific institution.
Yes, looking beyond just grades and scores to find that better fit based on a wider range of data points.
And for current students, AI can flag those who might be struggling, academically, financially, personally.
That proactive identification allows for timely interventions, offering support before a student hits a crisis point or considers dropping out.
It can also help tailor teaching and measure program effectiveness.
Yeah, providing insights into student performance and engagement that can help instructors adapt their methods, and giving institutions data on how well programs are meeting student needs.
So the ultimate goal isn't automation for its own sake.
Not at all. It's about creating a more personalized, effective, and ideally a more compassionate learning environment for every single student, using tech to boost human connection and support.
What are some concrete examples we're seeing?
Well, AI chatbots for instant answers to common questions are pretty widespread now. Frees up staff for complex issues.
AR and VR for virtual tours.
Definitely. often using AI to personalize the tour content based on expressed interests, and AI algorithms delivering personalized content suggestions on websites or portals based on browsing behavior.
Makes sense. Okay, just a couple more areas. Conversion-driven design. Why is this so important?
Because it's critical for actually turning website visitors into applicants or getting current students to take necessary actions online. It directly impacts enrollment and engagement.
But there are barriers, right?
Yeah.
Why do institutions sometimes struggle with this?
Often it's lack of collaboration marketing, IT design working in silos, resistance to data-driven decisions, not measuring website performance properly, sometimes prioritizing just aesthetics over actual user experience and goals, or just not understanding the audience's online behavior well enough.
But breakthroughs are happening.
Thankfully, yes. More cross-functional teams focusing on optimization, a bigger emphasis on data and analytics, prioritizing UX, using personalization, and committing to continuous testing, A/B testing, user testing to constantly improve performance.
Good to hear. And finally, let's touch on brand research. Why is that so fundamental?
Because choosing a college is a deeply emotional decision, isn't it?
Absolutely. Huge life decision.
And your brand is how you tell your story, how you connect emotionally. It impacts student interest, parent support, counselor recommendations, everything.
So you need a consistent way to understand your brand, like using archetypes.
Frameworks like archetypes can really help define that core personality and values. Then you need to measure how that brand is actually expressed and perceived.
Internally and externally.
Both. How do your faculty, staff, current students see the brand? Workshops, surveys, focus groups can help there. And externally, market surveys, talking to prospective students in the community, social listening, analyzing competitor brands.
And you need to connect that brand research to your audience research.
Critically important. Developing personas, maybe based on those archetypes that represent your ideal students.
The goal being
To make your institution's schema, the mental map people have of you not just known, but really individualized, emotionally resonant, and clearly different from your competitors, stand out for the right reasons.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground. Texting, content CMS, email, AI, design, brand.
As we wrap up, what are the absolute key takeaways for higher education marketers listening to this?
I think the biggest theme, really, is the absolute need for personalized, meaningful communication across every channel you use.
Tailor the message.
Exactly, whether it's a quick text, a nurturing email, or a strategic content. And underpinning all that, you have to leverage data and analytics. Make informed decisions, measure what you're doing. Choose the right tech foundation, like your CMS.
Crucial. And embrace AI not as a replacement for people, but as a tool to enhance that human connection. And finally, invest in building that strong, authentic brand story based on solid research.
That's a fantastic summary. And for you, our listener, maybe a final thought to chew on. How can you take all these insights we discussed, the power of concise texts, personalized email, strategic content, the right tech, smart AI, a strong brand, and weave them together? How can you use them to forge those deeper, more effective connections with both your prospective and your current students? Ultimately, driving enrollment, yes, but also fostering their long-term success and connection to your institution.
Lots to think about there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We hope this exploration gives you some concrete ideas to adapt and implement within your own unique context.